Let's go! Who's up next?
Welcome, Internet, to the Xbox Empire Podcast, part of the Play Some Video Games network of podcasts. I'm Elaine, as usual, joined by Donnie. Special guest, though, most important. Sorry, Donnie, I love you, but
Wow.
Coach Mo is here, so...
Overshadowed.
Come on, you know how this goes. People come on, and when people
And this
like
is
them
par
better
for
than
the
us.
course for PSVG. You'll that's the thing you'll learn to. This is just normal. Just everybody dunk on Don.
We love you, but...
I think I'm the only person at PSVG who could actually dunk on Donnie.
That's true.
So that's a win-win right
Dev
there.
used to could, but we know Dev ain't got hops no more. Dev can't get up.
Oh, wow. Look, okay,
He's got
youngin.
knees, man.
right? Look, young man. All right, over there. I'm also old and short, so everybody's dunking on me. Literally everyone. Before we get into more dunking on Donnie and fun with Xbox, let me give a shout out to our Patreon producers that I love to shout out every single week. Thank you to all of you folks at any Patreon level, on Twitter, Discord, everybody who makes this possible. Just want to say that you don't have to throw money at us for me to love you. I love everybody. So, but the Patreon producers, Edwin Callow, Barry Cathcart, Josh Bonesaw Bourbon, Chris McElfrish, Devin Tyus, Kyle Heyman, Paul Calicote, Michael Messick, The Egg Shen, Zach Bradshaw, Nick Fallhaber, Rude Days, 93, Rob Emanuel, Ben Moxham, and Grouchy Surge, forever.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite with the extra R's.
Thanks,
folks.
I've got DLC releasing this weekend, and it's about 2 hours of conversations with Rebecca, the Force Menace over from Nintendo Shack. So if you guys aren't on the PSVG Patreon, you won't get that episode. That's worth signing up for on its own.
See, if you're going to throw money at anything, do it for Rebecca, honestly. She's probably the nicest of the bunch.
I'm just glad we got it recorded before she goes off to, work at IGN or Game Explain or whatever the next great thing she's doing.
Are you going to get a creepy plaque of her behind you?
It would
like
probably
an
help
employee
viewership.
of the month.
It would help viewership, right?
Anything over the Chucky doll. Literally
The Chucky doll in the background
Has
is...
to go.
He'll hold the photo.
Nope. That's how you get ghosts. Do you want ghosts? That's
Yes.
how you get
I
ghosts.
would love ghosts.
That's... No, you know what? If I die, I will haunt you.
Do you have
That
any
is my
idea,
promise.
the incredible confirmation of faith a ghost would be? I would be in church all the time if I actually saw a ghost.
I don't think a ghost on this mortal plane is a confirmation of anything.
It's a
except the
confirmation
devil.
of something. I tell you
It's
that. It's something.
It is Jesus.
I'll start. I'll be at church every day. I'll start doing all the things.
As my grandmother would probably say, that's not a Jesus thing. So we trust the Italian old ladies for this one. We do. Donnie, there's a lot of news. Why can't they stop? I haven't talked about video games in a really long time.
I dug it up.
Yeah, you did, and you detailed it out with bullet points. I'm not the only type A one on this podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
I just want to make sure everybody knows at home I have 0 notes, and it will stay that way.
He's got all the Funkos in the background of the shot, but no notes. And you know what?
It's in his contract.
Yep.
It's required.
No notes.
Sorry, guys. No notes. OT forever.
I would like only green M&Ms and no notes. Slams the door. I didn't know Coach was a diva about this, quite
A
frankly.
little bit.
All right, look, we are at 26 days to new hardware.
That's it. It's almost here.
Baby. Which means the pictures of people getting pallets of these things are in the wild and on Twitter now, because that's the world we live in 2020. There was a brief unboxing video that someone posted on the internet that got ripped down fast.
Yeah, it did.
It was kind of like the experience to me. I watched it briefly of opening a 1X, like a very clean package without too much to do, and you're just at the box super fast.
I think it was rather uneventful. We didn't get any details on the pack-in promotion, so we don't know if there's anything. That was the only thing I was really looking for. But other than that, it literally is just a box
with a box in it
in styrofoam, and then there's a controller. It's very uneventful. It's there's not a whole lot in here.
They're not Apple, okay?
Yeah,
I
or
know
Google.
who they are.
People are
they're not
that controller.
I'm sorry.
people are going to keep that controller.
Well, what are you saying about my controller?
Oh,
Don't be
he's
hating
got
on my
like
controller.
fancy.
The only controller that
Does it
needs
have?
to be played.
Let me ask you this, Mo. Does it have a screenshot button?
I don't need a screenshot
Use
button.
Nope.
that button on anything?
I use the screenshot button all the time.
I only use it on my Switch when I win at Tetris 99.
I
know
have
who
been
I am.
playing a game for review. I'm playing Pumpkin Jack. We were playing
So am
Pumpkin
I.
Jack for review.
I am too.
I have taken like 20 screenshots.
You are the person they interviewed when they're like, so if we could give you one button that
Screenshot
like
button.
quick,
Oh yeah,
you want
100%. I've been saying this for years.
I want that button to be configurable.
Nope.
Like it is on my phone. There's a
Absolutely not.
button on my phone. Let me take it to my profile or to my messages to answer them real quick. That would be cool.
I mean,
That would be
so
cool.
on the Elite or on Mo's controller, you can
Elite
configure
2.
all of that stuff. So
Yes,
you can,
I have. Yep.
all of them.
Yeah.
I have a Madden configuration, a FIFA one,
Yep.
I have an NHL one, a UFC one, and then an FPS one.
When I had
I
the
have-
Elite, that's what I did. I configured my paddles and my macros to take screenshots and videos, but it's still not. It's not as simple and as clean as the screenshot button on the PlayStation and the Switch.
I agree. Although the PlayStation one gives you that extra layer of what do you want to do with this nightmare button, which also includes stream to Twitch and everything else. Like it's there. Is that what this one is going to do? Is it a universal share?
We don't have no. So their thing right now is when you take the screenshot or the video, if you download the new app, there's a new Xbox beta app you can download now. It automatically loads that to your phone. So they're trying to get you from sharing it on the controller altogether. They're like, don't type on this keyboard anymore. They're like, pick up your phone, hit share, and share it wherever you want to share it from there.
Okay.
So that's what they're doing, and I have been using that, and it does work, and it is faster. It's still not fast. I don't.
It's
think.
never going to be what we want it to be if we're the type of people who feel the need to sling that stuff onto the
because
internet
you can't
right fast.
you can't post batch. You can't post lots of them at one time, like you can on the other consoles and things. And like, to be honest with you, I mean, I won't go on and on because I already have. Like the folks that have listened to me for years, they already know this. I think it was a huge miss. I honestly think one of the biggest innovations this last generation was sharing in the share buttons, and Xbox completely missed it.
I would agree, and I think that what Sony has done with letting you push to Twitch or capture your last 15 seconds of video or whatever was so much more elegant than Microsoft's. We did it for you. See if you like it, because they did do that.
Hey, Xbox, record that. Come on, Don Matrick, get out of here
Don't,
with this ridiculous.
I disconnected my
Yeah.
Connect, so it can't have a
But
connection.
Coach, the new controller, I'm actually legit excited for. I love the D-pad, the Elite D-pad, and they are talking about the new bumpers not having like that. There's like an error level there. If you kind of press the bumpers on the side, they may not register and stuff. Like all that's gone now, and there's a groove to where you rest your finger. You curl your finger around, kind of like in the middle. There's a groove to let you know that you're there, so you don't accidentally press the bumper and the trigger. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but as much as I've played my Xbox, I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me. Like that registered instantly, told me that. I was like, yeah, that's a better controller.
My only complaint about the current Xbox controllers is that you can't actually bump the bumpers. Like you're not sliding forward to bump them. You have to click them. They're so I kind of,
The impressions I heard was like they're more like clicky or like solid. Like when you click them, they're not like there's no give on the button like there is now.
Okay.
You know?
I also own an Elite too, so I'm just gonna pair this with my new box. I don't even care. It's a weighty, beautiful controller, and I have
the Elite 3 with the legit configuration that we need.
Don't say something like that to me.
I will buy another one because this is my
It's
second
happening
one.
with Gear 6. We're gonna get a Gears Elite with a share button.
I like the plain Elites. I have the white one that came out right before the
Here
Series
comes
2,
Coach
and I
Mo
use
ready to
that
flex
with my
on us.
PC. He's gonna flex on
Look at him.
us
He's
so hard.
trying to move without disconnecting from the microphone.
I'm just gonna, and then I got the regular black Elite 2, and he's got stuff in boxes.
Oh, he's got the Crimson Gears of War.
Oh,
He's
he got the pretty
Elite.
one.
That's the Elite. The only one
That's
that
the
anybody needs to have.
That's the original Elite, right?
Yeah.
That's a Gen 1. Yeah. Okay.
So we're going to get
Which
a Gears
had
6 Elite with a share button, and it's going to be glorious.
I am also excited about them updating Design Lab with the new controllers, because actually, Design Lab is pretty legit.
Are you going to design us an Xbox Empire
Yeah, I
controller?
could do that. Let's
so
go.
On Shaq, I said, I'm here for it. And I was informed that you're rubbing off on me. They were like, see, that's Elaine rubbing off on Donnie. He never used to say that, and now all of a sudden he says that. So what I've been asked to do is design a coffee mug.
Oh, yeah.
The new the new logo on it that says, "I'm here for it."
Yes, please. Whoever suggested that is my new best friend. You could also put rad on it because I'll say rad pretty often too, and eventually
I think that's
going to
be a design. We're going to have an official mug of the Xbox Empire.
I'm so happy right now.
Make it a good size mug, though.
Oh, no. It's going to be like a bowl.
Okay.
It's going to need to be at least 20 ounces
Amen.
Because I have 2 small children in my house. So
we're going to eat cereal out of it.
Yeah, well, I've done that with this one, actually. All right, there's more news. We're going to keep it moving a little bit. But the short version of this whole thing is that the box is real and we're going to get it soon.
We've seen the box. Do you like the packaging?
I think it's hilarious.
Oh.
Because they clearly printed the packages with a giant ass halo thing on the back of them.
Yeah.
It's cringy almost because of all the stuff that has happened in there for me. And it's going to be kind of a bummer for consumers who don't know. You know what I mean? Like, well, where's the game that goes with this? You know,
Master Chief Collection, baby. It's packed in with your Game Pass.
Fine. They should put a code for that in the box.
Do you keep your boxes?
No. Only for my
you
most.
Looked at me like I was crazy. I keep my boxes.
I keep my boxes for stuff I may need to RMA because I've maybe read on the internet that they might need to. But like, if it breaks, they'll send me a box now. I don't care. This is a small house, my dude. Like,
no boxes.
I have a console legacy of boxes in the attic.
Where do you? What?
I pack them all back in, the ones that I keep anyway, right? And then if I sell them, I usually sell them with the original box, and it actually ups the value. You
turn things over more than me, and all my old consoles are out.
I turn things over more than anybody. I'm like Pawn Stars over here.
It's actually disturbing. You need a really thick gold chain.
I sold my Mario pins. I had my Mario pins for all of 2 hours. I had them. I got them, unpacked them, took a picture, put them eBay, put them back in the box, put them back in the mail.
I wish I was surprised by this information.
I told her when I got them. People are like, I hate the people that are selling them. I was like, totally selling mine. What am I going to do with 5 Mario pins?
Look.
Hey, Elaine.
You're talking to the wrong person.
Guess what I got? Guess what I got?
Oh, no.
Valhalla.
All right.
Thank you, Mario pins.
Are you going to play as the Viking lady?
I'm not sure yet. I typically always play as the lady, and I always have, but I have actually, not to sound all hipster and cool, I do think I'm a little tired of playing as the female heroine, because I think I've done it like the majority of this gen. Either when given the option, or just like so many games this gen has skewed off to the female hero, which is great. I love to see it. It's just, I'm doing it a lot, so I'm actually thinking that I'm starting to crave like something different, or just something.
Some testosterone in your life?
Just something, just like a little variety, you know? It's just like I've played as Aloy, and then Ellie, and then Abby, and it's like this is everybody, you know, Laura's still around. Like there's just Kate. I think that's been like a theme of this generation, like thematically in games. Like the female protagonist has definitely got to be one. Like that's been a conscious effort on developers' part.
And I will say, here for it.
Oh, there you go.
Because for me, I had to. But for me, like I played as the male character for the better part of my entire life, with the exception of like Metroid, when I was so excited as a little kid. Like, oh my god, it's not an Italian man.
I totally get
with a bad mustache.
Every time a game gave me the option to make or choose, I always played as a lady. Skyrim, all of it, all the time. But now that so many are like making that the way, now I'm just like, now I got to start playing as something else.
For the longest time, I actually chose the male characters because for a while, at least when they started giving the option, oftentimes the male voice actors had slightly better performances. And I was like kind of here for that. But as soon as like Mass Effect came along and Jennifer Hale's Commander Shepard came along, I was like, we're done here. They figured it out.
Yep.
We figured it all out. The females are here, and they're better at this than most of the boys. So, plus, I want to be a war Viking lady, so this is just a power fantasy for me, really.
Sure.
So.
Respect.
All right, let's talk. Since we're talking about some older games, so let's talk about backwards compatibility, because Microsoft has decided to drop a giant article on it was on like Xbox Wire, right? And there was a ton of stuff in here.
It was like a flex.
It was a flex, and I'm going to quote. Backwards compatible games run natively on the Xbox Series X and S, running with the full power of the CPU, GPU, and SSD. No boost mode, no downclocking, the full power of the consoles for each and every backward compatible game. They just stood up on top of a pile of Xboxes and just flexed.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
100%. They have put so much effort into their backwards compatible team, and they've done so much, which we're going to detail here. that I actually think was good for them. Good on you for taking a victory lap and showing your work, showing the fruit of your effort.
They made a really big effort during this current generation to make that stuff go. And they received a lot of criticism up front for it and how it went. And then as time went on, it got better and better and better. You can flex all you want. If people care about older games and even games they didn't get to in this gen, that's the best way to do it right now. So what's in this, Donnie? Break it down.
So you have 1,000 Xbox games that shipped before HDR. So like original Xbox 360. These were things before HDR came out. So all of them are in standard dynamic range. And without any developers having to do anything, you don't have to touch the game code or go back and select an option or even go through certification. The Xbox back compat team has deployed auto HDR, which we've heard them talk about, but we've yet to really see demonstrated. And they showed off several examples. They have side-by-side screens with Subnautica. I've also read that this is, I already forget the name of it now, like isometric scaling or 16 times, whatever it's called. I don't understand it. It's a PC thing that PC gamers do. Anti-scropic, something like that.
It's just going well already.
Yeah. And what it does, though, here's the important part. I think this is more important than saying it correctly or accurately. The important part is it's a filtering mechanism that a lot of PC games do. The console games haven't really done on a bigger scale at 16 times. You've seen it at 4 or 8. But what this does is I think everybody knows draw distance. You're running around an open world and you can clearly see like a horizontal line 20 feet in front of your character where before that line, everything is really nice. And after that line, everything is really muddy. And it's usually the better the console, the further that line is away from you. So in like Breath of the Wild, that line is like 3 feet in front of Link. And then, like in Anthem, it's like 20 feet in front of your character. So this filtering mechanism basically extends a lot of that detail further out, and it like gradually blends into the background. So when you're seeing it side by side, you may not notice it at first, but if you start paying attention to the details, you'll see like a lot of times, a lot of the examples, they use like cobblestone or bricks or something like to show it, because you'll see the edging and the indents and the things in the bricks way further out toward the horizon of the picture than with it off. So they're bringing this with the auto HDR to really enrich your visual experience. Even though you're playing these old games, they look better. They look so much better.
As somebody who is a big nerd, I would love to know how the algorithm that they use for HDR, this auto HDR, is calculating that. Like, what is it doing? Because HDR, for people who maybe don't care or don't know, it's like it makes colors pop more. That's the best way I know how to like explain it to people who just don't care. It makes it look prettier, but it makes it look more vibrant to you, and it gives you more range of color, right? And more range of whites and blacks. So the idea that like they're doing something and taking an image in and signals processing it to make it look even better automatically. I want to know what dark voodoo magic or what god you're sacrificing to make that work, because I mean, I'll sacrifice to that one. That's how you get ghosts also. But
I've seen some really great examples of it, and I've seen some tweets about some games where it doesn't come off as well, like it's too bright in some areas, and I'm sure they'll continue to hone in on that. But like Jeff Grubb has backwards compatible footage of Banjo, and it looks like a remaster. It looks
so
great.
Yes, games that are really like, I find that HDR, especially when it's like this, works the best in games that are almost cartoony in colors, that really are already vivid. Outer Worlds would probably be one, because it has some areas that are very colorful, and Journey to the Savage Planet would probably pop really nicely with this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like games that are just like blue, purple, instead of just gray, and 4 different shades of gray, and maybe some blood.
So in addition to the HDR, in addition to these filtering techniques, they're also boosting the frame rate of certain select games, and they showed off Fallout 4, which is running at 60 frames.
That one really needed the frames.
Locked, solid.
Oh man, I would really love to see that, because Fallout 4 it had some parts, it had some roughness to it.
The Fallout 4 60 frames was also running on the S, the little
the cute
image
baby.
that they had. So it's even on the S console, you're going to get this. And they just went on and showcased more and more things that they're doing across the board, but basically they're enhancing the way the games look, the way the game's played. They showed Fallout, they showed Subnautica. I've seen Banjo. Polygon did a whole thing on Crackdown, which looks
Oh,
kind of incredible. If you haven't seen it, go look at the video. Crackdown running at 60 frames a second with HDR turned on and at like a slightly, scaled resolution. Looks like a remaster, like a cheap remaster of a game, like an EA remaster. That's what the thing looks like. It looks great.
I wonder if it looks better than Crackdown 3 did. I don't mean to throw shade, but that game is not good.
It looks fantastic. And,
Crackdown 1 is one of my favorites. I would play it again. Just give me a reason.
My big takeaway from all of this that I actually wanted to bring to the show, because backwards compatibility has become a feather in Microsoft's cap and a divider amongst console gamers, where everybody,
Sure.
People that don't have it apparently don't care about it, and people that have it, they love it, but they don't have any new games. I love backwards compatibility. I always have. And even if you don't, I'm always puzzled by the notion that a company shouldn't do it. I've seen a lot of folks being like, well, Sony doesn't want to invest into that. It's not a giant investment. They're $1 billion corporation. You're asking them to buy studios and stuff, but you don't want them to have backwards compatibility. Even if you don't use it, there's no downside to having backwards compatibility. Like, it's the thing I just don't understand. There's zero downside. And that's it. Ultimately, I just really like it, and it gives me a lot of confidence. And this is a big reason why I started this gen when they didn't have backwards compatibility and the Xbox was underpowered. I switched to PlayStation. I think anybody that was actually considering, their options was doing so, because they weren't doing anything. Backwards compatibility was a huge reason to swing me back the other way.
Sure.
Because they honored my legacy purchases. When I buy a game on Xbox, I believe in having that purchase there more than I do on other consoles. Like, if given the option, I would typically buy my game on Xbox, and I love my Switch. I'm just not convinced that I'm going to be able to play that game I bought on Switch anytime into the future. I have no confidence that's going to happen. But with Xbox, I'm like, look, I've got all these games that I bought on 360 and that I've purchased on original Xbox and got with these promotions. Like, it's all playable. I can just keep playing. So there are some ones that I really wish were there that aren't, but I can't really complain about it. Like, tons and tons and tons of games. And I like that they've done this because I think they had to. That's the other thing. A lot of people go, they had to do backwards compatibility because they didn't have exclusives. I don't think that's it at all. That's console wars. I think they had to do backward compatibility to make their kind of quasi step into supporting PC more. Because
Maybe.
That's expected. It's not a luxury. In the PC space, backwards compatibility is expected. That's the standard. You will absolutely have backwards compatibility. So I don't think Xbox could have done that. I don't think they could have done that console thing on PC space.
I think the other reason that I think both Sony and Microsoft were kind of up against it this time, because to be clear, the PS5 is supporting PS4 games, almost all of them, right? Maybe not as elegantly, but they're supporting them. This is a 7-year console cycle. That's a lot of video games that have been stacked up. And to tell people, well, stick your whole library in a box in the attic along with the console, that's a tough sell. Like, we're in a different place now, Coach, where are you at with this? Do you play your old stuff, or do you stick that stuff in a box, man?
So I still have my 360. It's the R2D2 edition.
Yay.
I would have sold it had I had like 200 to 300 Xbox 360 games. I have 3 left, and the only reason I have them is because they haven't come to backwards compatibility.
Right.
Same.
Yep.
The only backwards compatible game that I've ever played, it was my favorite one, which is Enslaved. I absolutely adored that game when it came out. But I still have NCAA 14.
Yep.
I still have Nike Fit Club. And I still have the Zumba one, because that's just it's a banging game. My 360 and my Kinect, they're great. I don't care what anyone says. Those are the only 3 games I have still for my 360. And once those 3, if they ever make their way to backwards compat, the 360 is gone.
Sure.
Right? I don't need it, but I keep it because I play NCAA once a week. I do Nike Fit Club because it's good for the knees. But yeah, for me, this is one of those where it's cool, but I just don't use it the way people think you will. Now, the Xbox One to the Xbox One X, that's going to be different, right? Because now that Series X jump, now the 200 and some physical games I have here in the room, all of those go with me. Like, I don't have to worry about them.
Yep.
And I think that's pretty important when you're looking at it, right? So you get to keep all that.
Yeah, it's like it's a hot swap box, right? Like I take
Mhm.
out my Xbox One of whatever variety you happen to have, and every game that I could currently play on that box, 360, original Xbox, and current games, go forward. Like
Mhm.
they almost have to. You sold me a story and I bought in. And I'm one of those people who doesn't trade stuff in. I keep games. I just want the option.
Mhm.
Do I use it every day? No.
How
I
cool
just like
is it
having
that
it.
your purchases, like this investment you've made, not only do you get to play them, they're getting better without you paying anything. They're just getting better. Like it's the versions of Crackdown that you can play in 26 days is going to be twice as good as the version that you bought, and they didn't make you pay for anything.
That's nuts. And for me, like I said this a couple weeks ago, I've said this a couple times. Like I love video games and I like so many different genres that I always run into the situation where I have more games to play than I have time. So there's always games that are holdovers, right? That I didn't get to. And now I'm sitting on those games and I'm going, what if I just waited like 26 days and then popped them in? Because they're going to run better. And this is probably the first time I've had that experience. It is the first time I've had that experience. And it's wild.
Sometimes I
Like,
just get
it's-
nostalgic, and I think that's more.
Yeah,
than
I do
anything.
that.
When Fable 3 came to back in pen, I played Fable 3 again. Sat down for 2 weeks and I played Fable 3 again. So I know that I am that person that I will play an old game. I will totally go play a 360. I'm buying 360 games.
I do that when I see them. I bought a copy of Enslaved a couple weeks ago because when that game had originally come out, I loved it. I love that game. I will sit here and stand that game till the end of time. I traded it because I was in college or like just out, and we just didn't have cash. And if I wanted to play new games, I didn't have a choice. And then I was in a store a couple weeks ago, and I was like, you know what? I need to own a copy of this now. Like I need to physically have a disc. So I do that. I totally do that.
And like in today's world, they go on sale for $2-3.
Yeah.
So they're easy pickups. You can grab them and play them if you want to. But I and that's just the thing. I realize that it's become like this whole, this box does this and that box doesn't. But I ultimately I think it's objectively a good thing. That doesn't mean you have to have it. It doesn't mean you have to trump for it. But like, there's no downside to having it. Like Xbox isn't not making a game because they have the backwards compatible team working on this.
No, they definitely did a thing where they gave people jobs to do this work, right? Like this was a piece of their company that they supported people's jobs with, and they continue to support people's jobs with. I'm here for that. If they can pay people to do this, like, yeah, let's just keep doing it. There's no, like you said, there's no downside.
Yep.
Let's go. All right. We talked about the old games. Let's talk about the new ones. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, there were a couple listener questions that fit with this vibe. So Garrett, with backwards compatible games getting a significant boost by the Series X, do you imagine seeing major third-party devs patch previous titles to unlock more frame rates or other improvements? So maybe like a fixed 30 game, do you think they would patch it?
I hope
That's
so.
an interesting question. Me too.
Because that Assassin's Creed demo, the Digital Foundry, looks great.
Yeah,
But
Unity. It was specifically Unity, right?
Right, it was Unity, but you have to buy the disc version and not patch it. So you've got to play from the disc and you've got to not patch it.
Because so to be clear, Unity was hot garbage at launch. And in order to fix how hot garbage it was, they locked the frame rate to 30. And then they started putting people's faces back on the models. I love that game because I love the setting, but it was a hot mess.
The setting
for
looks
2
gorgeous.
straight
I never played it because I knew what a kind of a mess it was.
bad.
So I didn't play
What
it.
makes me laugh about this, I don't know if I'm the only one who does this, but I buy every AC game.
I do too.
And I've beaten every one of them. But what I do after Assassin's Creed 3, I realized you can't play at launch. So I pick it up and I just wait a month.
Yeah.
And after about a month, they've fixed
good.
bugs. And that's what. So like I'll be picking up AC Valhalla at launch, and then sometime in the middle of December is when it's actually going to get installed and played because that's when the patches come out.
It's kind of an Ubisoft special, right? Especially for hardware launches. Like, come on, they do this every time. We all know they do. But I mean, like for me, I bought them on PC so I could throw more power at the problem because that solves a lot of their issues, it seems. But yeah, I'm curious if a bunch of devs will go back and be like, oh, unlock the frame rate. Let's see what happens.
I really don't think they would. Just because it's time and investment that they're not going to see a return on. Like you're not paying for it, except that maybe like a big publisher might. Like
Ubisoft could do it.
I could see them doing it unless they had remaster plans.
So maybe not Unity if you're going to remaster and try to resell me any of your video games. Maybe you just do that one from the good of your heart.
Right.
Just saying. Because
Yeah,
it was
I could see
bad.
a big publisher just being like, yeah, we're going to go and unlock some things and just kind of make it a little bit better.
What about Bethesda?
Oh, yeah.
What about those games
They're
that
gonna do all of
Microsoft
those.
now owns? I think they will patch some of those.
Yeah, they're going to do all of those, I think.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That'll be good. Semi-related, Sam asked, what current gen game are you most excited for playing on the new hardware with new improvements? Coach, do you have anything that you want to take forward?
No. Everything that I bought the extra editions of so that they go straight with me. So
Cool.
Madden,
You're
FIFA,
upgraded.
NHL, NBA 2K. I bought the fancy Kobe edition, which that I teared up taking that one home. Not gonna lie
Yeah,
about it.
man.
The only one that didn't do that was PJ 21. I didn't see that upgrade on or that option.
No,
when I
they
reviewed
didn't.
it, they wouldn't answer that question. I asked about that.
Yeah.
That's a relatively small studio that made those games.
So all of my sports games that I bought the higher versions of will all carry with me, which I'm pretty jacked about.
So you've solved this problem by getting ready. I'm curious to see
I
what
came in loaded. I was ready to go.
I'm gonna ping you when this is all out and be like, put every disc in and tell me which one is the one to play, which one looks the best. Because I think it's gonna be basketball. But
I think it's gonna be FIFA.
You think it's gonna be FIFA?
FIFA looks better this year than any year I've played it. And we're talking I've played every FIFA since 2001.
Damn.
So we're looking at almost 19 years in a row of me playing FIFA. And this one is spectacular. They did such a great job.
I don't need a soccer game. I already bought a UFC game because I made the mistake of talking to you on the internet. I like the UFC games and I loved 3. So all you had to do is be like, yo, it's good. And then Amazon was like, yo, it's $30. And you get an upgrade.
Worth it.
So,
worth it.
I don't talk me into buying FIFA. What are you doing?
Yeah, I have a feeling FIFA doesn't look the best. The last 2 Madden patches that came out were not great cosmetically. And the NHL one is still kind of crawling out of the sewer that it was from last year.
How is the Madden community doing? Are they still just hating that game?
So numbers wise online, I'm finding competitive matches, so I'm not having an issue there. I think the longest I've had to wait was about 30 seconds. So that tells me that there's an avid player base. The franchise modes, this is the first year that like my group of friends that normally do franchise mode with me, Dan, who's a PSVG fan, he's literally said, I'm not playing Madden with you again until next gen because he took some whippings. I felt bad for him and the things he had to endure. So the problem was in year 7 of an online Madden league, we did a Marvel superhero draft, and I picked the Incredible Hulk with the number 1 pick, who was the greatest defensive lineman who's ever lived, and it just wrecked shop. It was the cheat code, basically. So this is like our first year not playing together, and that's kind of different. Like I'm having a lot of fun.
The fan base in total seemed to be real upset with this last one. Like they're
and the issues that people are whining about just because they haven't updated franchise, and I personally believe that there's an update coming on the next system that's going to answer those questions.
Okay.
I thought what they did for the Madden Ultimate Team was fantastic. It is beautiful. They actually made the cards a little more fancy. They put some time into the way they developed it. And it's not so easy to just spend money and have a great team. You actually have to earn it a little bit, which is nice.
Oh, I like to hear that. I like to hear that it's not just like pay to win. This is still not going to get me to play Madden this year, but like maybe next year.
Game Pass.
I'll
wait for it to come to Game Pass.
Oh, that's right. All the EA stuff.
Yeah,
I
that's
play
right.
A trial.
All the EA games come to Game Pass now.
That's so great.
I do like Madden. I'm just
so
terrible.
Amazing. It's been buried by the Bethesda news, but once they start showing up, people are going to be like, "Oh, that's a thing." I forgot about that.
So wild. It's still so wild to me. It's getting real weird. Is FIFA included in that?
Yep.
Is that in there? All right, maybe I will try FIFA.
Now, you'll only get the 10-hour trial.
That's okay.
Because FIFA normally releases somewhere around March.
Yeah.
Is when it goes in to the vault. You're going to get Madden in the middle of January, beginning of February. They try to push those sales up until then, and then you'll get that in the vault. You're going to get NHL in probably a month. So
Squadrons.
You're not going to see.
I don't think that
you won't see Squadrons for a year.
Summer?
Dude, look at the Fallen Order.
Yeah, Fallen Order still isn't in
I
there.
guess you're right. You're right.
It's Star Wars. That's Disney thing. That's
Squadron's
a whole
still
other thing.
I was thinking.
It took 2 years for Battlefront to make it in there.
I was thinking with it being multiplayer, maybe they'd want to do that to kind of give it a boost.
I think it's going to stay the exact same model where it's going to take 2 years, and then they're going to cycle you through and then put it back in.
I legit think that has something to do with the Disney ownership of those franchises. I think that's got to be in a contract somewhere because it's always like that. But sports games, it's like, look, as soon as we hit the sales hump and start to go down, you can have it in the vault.
Coach, let me
So-
ask you this, because you're more in tune with the EA stuff. I have floated the idea with this Game Pass agreement that Xbox has made. Do you think it's possible that you might see games show up to Game Pass via EA Play earlier than it hits EA Play services on PC or PlayStation?
Yes. I fully believe they could give you like a 2-week window
Yeah.
where it's ahead of everybody else.
A month ahead or something.
Yeah. So if, let's say, NHL was supposed to launch October 1st, then we would have gotten it in the middle of September. And they would have given, I bet in that deal, they give you an extra 10 hours. So instead of a 10-hour window, it's 20. And then they go full release at that same time everybody else is getting it for the 10-hour.
That would be interesting.
I could definitely see them working that out, because here's the thing. We all know that FIFA is a powerhouse. Like, FIFA sells huge numbers every year.
It's crazy.
And that's across three systems. FIFA on Switch did really well this year.
Yeah.
The 21 one did really well. So now you get FIFA 21 early on this deal, this pass, this system. Now where's your FIFA machine?
Yeah.
And that's pretty important. That's the reason the 360, when FIFA was hitting on the 360, that's why they were flying off the shelves overseas, and you were getting them in Europe because of the fact that was the FIFA console.
So does this drive sales in Europe for this console? Because it's been, the Xbox One did not perform super well.
PlayStation owns Europe.
Yeah, and Japan. That's where they live, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious to see if at least this moves the needle. Do I expect it to knock the PS5? No, please. It's not going to happen. They're too embedded, but I could see it at least giving it a bump with someone who's like kind of in the middle and agnostic and only buys sports games. You know, maybe.
I think it's going to take the EA
number.
games hitting Game Pass and that news starting to reverberate. Because right now it's not reverberating. Everybody's forgot it. But once they start releasing, and if they make a deal out of it, so like when Madden hits EA Play and then Xbox starts going, now you can play Madden as a part of Game Pass.
Yeah.
That you might be able to win over some.
This is why the Halo image on the box bums me out. And I know that was set in stone long ago, and I know you have to print boxes, right? But that real estate would have been better spent selling you on Game Pass hardware.
I 100% agree with you there. I would have loved to have. Could you imagine if the back of the box was just a checkerboard of tiles?
Exactly. Of all the big stuff, right? And you know what? Like,
play day one.
It would have been so huge to have to like be in a store and look at boxes around Christmas or whenever there's stock and flip that box over and just be like, you can play this on day one. There's a code in the box, free month.
Free. No, that's what you call it. You call it free. And I know people don't want to say that, but if you're marketing,
asterisk 30 days.
Exactly what you say. Play all of these games today for free.
It's a missed opportunity. That even without the Bethesda and the EA stuff, sell it on flip the box over and show all the games you can play right now with the code that's sitting inside that box for free for 30 days. That would have been the sell.
The current gen games, if I may, I wanted to say that somebody floated the idea of what if Ubisoft patched Far Cry? I totally would replay Far Cry 5 if they boosted.
I liked that game.
If we had I love that game. If we had a big, if we had a big update and it was like it's at 60 and it's beautiful, and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna replay the whole thing.
I'm trying to think of what I
Primal,
wanted.
the best Far Cry.
No,
I didn't love Primal, but I played Primal. I played them all.
I loved Primal.
I liked New Dawn as well.
Didn't like that one.
I liked New Dawn.
Told you my reasons.
Yeah, Primal is the only Far Cry 1000.
Oh, that's nice. Speaking of games I've 1000, I might drag The Witcher forward. My only pause with that one is that they have promised a patch.
Yeah,
with HDR and
patch,
performance. Yeah. So now I'm just like, I want to play that one with the improvement in the beef to it. Show me the tress effects. Give me more hair.
I'm excited to hear more about this old back and pat stuff. The games that come to mind are like Spec Ops: The Line or like Rainbow Six Vegas. If the HDR and the stuff is like I'm totally down to run through those campaigns again, because at the time they were beautiful, like the dust storms and like the neon and the Vegas, the slot machines, and I would totally play that if it was better. It's like, hey, it's awesome now. Yeah.
I would bring Gears forward. I would do those again, all in order. I haven't in a very, very long time. I would take just a quicker loading time. That's all it would take me to get me back in those games.
What do you like the idea of a Gears collection like the Halo Master Chief thing?
Have you guys played the Gears 2 or Gears 3 on back compat on the Xbox One?
Mm-mm.
I was wondering if the multiplayer still worked, because
I'm curious. Best
if
horde
that's
mode.
True, I would replay 3 with somebody in a second.
Let's do horde. Well. Dude. Let's play horde mode.
We
in
should
that
do
thing.
this.
Let's do this. I'd play a horde mode
I'm
again.
down.
There's lots of cursing. It'll be great. I'm super bad at it. Let's go.
We don't get a chance to talk about games, but I just replayed Gears. I just did the last
See,
Gears
you
last
mentioned
week.
that.
Yeah. I've been playing
want
it for
to-
about 3 weeks. I've been playing it off and on in between other things.
I went through the Dead Space collection because I had never played them, and I thought about going back through Gears. And like I said, I'm kind of in this weird, like I've said this on Twitter, I'm in a weird stasis where it's like I want to play things, but now I'm just like, but if I wait, it'll be better.
That's me. I bought Call of Duty, I bought Valhalla, but I'm not playing anything. I'm like just pushing everything off. I'm like, I'm just going to keep replaying some stuff.
I'm just playing Tetris. I'm like, I've become like a grandma, sitting with my giant tea mug and Tetris. Like in my day, video games had blocks, kids.
I'm really glad I went back to the original Gears. Not that I'd forgotten it, it was just a reminder of how different the original Gears is from where we are now. The original Gears is so much more like horrific and gothic in tone and in
and
style.
spoopy. It's scary. It's like creepy. It's unnerving. Like they were going almost to jump scare
the krill
places.
and stuff that you have to do, and it's
Scary.
like it's so different. And it's not that
Except for
one's
Judgment.
it's not better or worse than the other. It's just different, and I kind of appreciate both. And I think I was talking to Kevin. I was like, man, what if they did like Gears of War collection remaster, like do the whole thing over again?
I would buy that in a second. Like
Yeah,
I
I
have
would
very
too.
strong feelings about all the Gears games except Judgment. Coach said it. I just don't. I just don't give a crap.
Judgment
about
was
that
too
game.
much. They joked way too much. They
Yeah,
needed
it was
way
yes.
too much.
I don't. I
Coming
don't
from
like Baird as a character.
yeah,
so I
Baird
just
sucks. So
He
let's not even
sucks.
mess with that.
that's what
Coming
it
from
is.
like the seriousness of 1 to the heartbreak in 2 to the sacrifice in 3, like we had some amazing
3 is
stories,
Yes.
and you then give us the 4th one, which is Baird.
It's like
Guys, Baird doesn't even like Baird.
I don't think he does. I think he wakes up every morning and looks in the mirror and like, oh, you again? Great.
should have
Cool.
been Dom.
I wish I don't care that it's a prequel. I wish they had given us any other character, like literally any other
Dude,
character.
If they would have given us a full one on Coltrane, I would have been all about
Coltrane-
that.
Dude, I wish
Coltrane game would be dope.
bless up. That would be good.
Give
I
me
mean, that would be
the
the funny one to
Coltrane.
do, right? That
Yeah.
one would be hilarious, and you could have like a buddy cop thing. It would be good. Coach. My new thing is I want Machine Games to make a Gears spinoff.
I'd be down for that.
That's my whole new thing now. It's like this is what I want to will into existence in the world. I want them to make a Gears spinoff. I don't want it to be like about the Gears. I just want regular foot soldiers, but set in Gears universe with machine.
So
guns,
like
gameplay.
ODST, but
That's
like
exactly what I
by
want.
machine. Like
Who made-
let's go. Yeah.
Who makes State of Decay?
Undead Labs.
I
Yeah.
would like Undead Labs to make a Gears themed State of Decay where you're
I need
doing
them
like
to show me that they can make a better game first.
You need to stop. State of Decay 2 was a gem. A gem.
There's nothing about that game that is a gem.
Oh no.
I'm having a hard time loving you right now.
The
and
boys
that's-
are fighting. Listen, gentlemen, fight nicely. Okay.
You can
Or
say all
mommy's
you
turning
want,
the
but it's
podcast
janky.
around.
The base building is beautiful. The gunplay is
There's
phenomenal.
nothing
and the
beautiful about the
scavenge-
visuals in that game.
Oh God.
Dude,
What have
the-
I gotten? I'm actually kind of glad that Coach is here to help me heckle you though, like because it's not. I don't have to hold up this whole heckle machine by myself.
Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
You know, you can handle it. That's why we do it because
Yep.
we love you. All right, we're gonna go forward. We've talked about back. Let's talk about forward. Some gameplay stuff is coming out specific to a few games. So let's talk about Dirt 5 first. So this was weird. Like I expected this. People aren't pumped. Some people are pumped. Some
angry.
Yeah, like I don't.
I got. So here's the thing that I think is funny. People said they wanted Xbox next gen gameplay. They got it. Full gameplay. Dirt 5, full
Yep.
previews. Yakuza, Like a Dragon, full previews.
Yep.
And then everybody hated on Dirt 5's performance, which I understand why. But here's the interesting thing that I don't think was being pointed out often enough. Over on Twitter, there are a lot of people with the console wars, right? Most powerful console can't even run Dirt 5. Here's the funny thing. The most powerful console comment is legit. It's real. It's not like a thing that we need Digital Foundry to tell us. We're not waiting for them to get the boxes to tell us. We know. The GPU in the Series X is better. It just is. So if it's running this on Series X, what do you think is going to run on PS5? Are you going to hate
There's
it
that.
too?
There's that. There's
It's
so
going to
here's
run worse.
I have a number of problems with this. One, there's that, which is the snarky way to look at this. The other way to look at this is, I don't think this is final code. I suspect
Oh, it's
there will be a
definitely
patch,
not. They said it
right?
was. They said it was weeks old code. They've already done better.
Exactly. So that's number one. And number two is like we're viewing this footage Now, performance dropped frames are dropped frames, okay? But we're viewing this footage on our tiny ass laptop monitors that has been captured without HDR, just capable displays, without your whatever rate, refresh rate.
120.
You're watching trash. You're watching captured garbage. It's so hard to distinguish a 1080p game from a 4K game in a streamed capture, like piece of footage. It's
so
just
what we're talking
hard.
about, Dirt 5 has options. You can run
Yes.
the frame rate mode at 4K 60.
Locked 60, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
You can run image quality mode, which adds a bit more detail, like you have more people in the crowds, detailed shadows and everything. At dynamic 4K, which Digital Foundry said drops to as low as 1800, but usually stays around 4K at 60 frames or potentially higher.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if they'll lock that down a little bit more when it releases.
Then there's the performance mode, which targets 1440 at 120 frames a second with drops down to 1080.
This is not 1440 on the S.
Right.
This is 1080 on the S, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a distinguishing point to make also.
Which is hilarious because people are like, you're going to drop it down. There are some haters. They're hating on Dirt 5, and they're like, you're going to drop this down to 1080. It's like, it's 120 frames.
That's a lot of that's more
There's
frames than any
nothing
console. Yeah.
on our current consoles that's 120 frames. You've never seen it before.
On a box the size of a Bible that I have in my house. When you look at the S, it is like the size of a large Bible.
Now, Ryan McCaffrey did a preview coverage over at IGN, and I think his comments were the ones that got most people, I think, talking about it. He said that his eyeballs were disappointingly unmelted. And I think this is actually a really great talking point. I was talking to Jeff Grubb in his Discord about it over the weekend, because the thing that I've been trying to put out in the ether is I don't think people are going to have the next gen conditioned experience of, oh my God, this is a whole different world. These games are going to look relatively the same as the games you have now. They're just going to be so much better, so much faster, so much more stable. But to some, that isn't worth a console generation or something. I don't know. I mean, to me, I couldn't be more excited. And to be frank, on the footage that I watched for Dirt 5, I watched it at 4K 60, and I watched it YouTube, and I waited for it to buffer and load and everything. I thought it looked great. No joke. I thought it looked great. I was like, this looks, and I'm not a racing guy, which I'm still not going to buy it, but I was watching and I was like, this looks really good.
I think that, we're in this place where if you expect your eyes to be melted off, if we're going to use his hyperbole here, they're not going to be. That's just not how this works, right? And you have to also keep in mind, like, a lot of people are going to plug this thing into a 1080 set. Maybe not a lot of people listening to this show, but a lot of people in America and the world are going to plug this thing into a 1080 set. So what they're going to see isn't some new visual upgrade. What they're going to see is, oh crap, I can quick resume 4 games and everything is so much snappier.
And that's the issue that we have with the X and the Pro models that we have, is we have games in 4K. We have games at 4K 60. The difference is all of our games aren't 4K 60. The difference is we only have like a handful of games that actually hit 4K 60. What these consoles are offering is all games that are offering 4K 60, like across the board, a new standard. And it's weird because I feel like people are saying, in some of the comments that I read on Twitter and replies to like the IGN thread and stuff like that, people are like, my consoles already do that. And it's like, just because Gears can do it doesn't mean your console does it. Like, that's a specific case. These consoles can do it.
There's an it can do it, but, right? Like, Coach, I got a question for you. When you got these consoles, the ones we have now, when is the first time after buying them you really felt like the actual, like, the devs got their hands around how to actually write code for the damn thing and to actually give you that experience?
It was the second Madden game. The first Madden game that released 25 on the Xbox was awful.
Right.
That game, worst Madden game I've ever played. I always love when people are like, oh, well, this one was awful. I'm like, no, Madden 25 was awful. Madden 25 made me not want to play Madden. And that's been my bread and butter my whole life. And it was that second one where I was like, okay, I can see it. The thing that why I wanted to kind of respond to what you're saying is I don't understand some of these people with the things they're asking for, because for me, if I'm playing FIFA and I go for a crosser and that ball moves just a fraction of a second better or faster on the Series X, then it was worth my purchase.
Sure.
Right? Because that's all I need. I need it to be more accurate, more detailed for me to play the games that I play. And so to me, like, if it's just a little bit better, then I'm happy, because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that marginal improvement as we continue to develop better technology. I think expecting Dirt 5, which was built to run on this series hardware efficiently, to look monumentally better, it's just that's just.
I took a little issue with Ryan said. He said something. He compared it to Forza, and he was like, it's not Forza. And it's like that's not
unfair.
That's not fair to Codemasters. They're not Turn 10. They're not Playground.
Also, they don't have built-in support from the maker of the hardware.
Exactly.
That's cheating. That's like literally turning on every cheat code. And like, chat has been bringing up, like, we're maxing our current hardware out for 4K right now and barely hitting sometimes 30.
Yep.
You know, like we're at the top end. Like, if you want more, then you need a new box. You're not going to get more out of what we got right now. And I'm with you. Like, I got 2 kids. I work full time. If the console boots up faster and gets me into a game, and every single day that I boot up that thing, I save 3 minutes, it's worth it.
That's an extra game of Madden every week.
I can play an extra round or whatever. I can get one extra chapter into a game. I can swap between games if I don't know what I want. Like, that's valuable to somebody like me.
That is the feature that I'm so excited for, because I just want to be like, okay, I've got FIFA and then Madden. They're booted up
all the time.
I just gotta log in and go, all right, let's restart this game right here, and I'm good to go.
Yep. I sit before bed sometimes and go, oh, it's 10:30. That's going to take me so damn long to boot up one of these consoles and get into a game that I'm not going to bother, because by the time I get there, I only have 15, 20 minutes before I'm tired. Now I can just be like, let's go.
Jeff, he plays most of his stuff on PC, and he told me he's over the moon about 120 frames. Like, he was playing Dirt 5 120. He was like, this is amazing. And it was so funny because I would never trade 4K to lower the resolution, I don't think. I will play 4K 30 at no 4K option, personally, because I do like a sharper, cleaner resolution.
Sure.
But I will take 4K 60 over any other option, period.
Yes.
But he's like, no, I'm playing this 120. He's like, I'm going to play everything at 120 if at all possible. It makes me feel like I've never played 120 here.
Oh,
game.
Dude.
So that's the thing. It's like, maybe I don't even know what I'm talking about. Maybe I
have like a 144 hertz monitor that's G-Sync. It's hard to go back.
Really?
It's hard to go. Like, I can't go below 60 without getting a little frustrated. Like, console stuff at 30, I'm like, fine, as long as it's locked. But when it dips below that, I don't love it. I mean, the extra frames for me, I love that, and anything that wipes away the tearing, because tearing drives me nuts. Mm-hmm. It's like some people see it, some people don't thing. Yeah. So let's talk about one more. So they, like you said, Yakuza Like a Dragon, or Yakuza 7, also got run through the ringer. So Series X had 4K 30 and 1440 at 60. And this is, again, games that were developed for current hardware and bumped up, right?
But isn't that an improvement for them? Aren't they normally just a little janky? Like, I just started the Yakuza 0. One of my friends loves it, and I was like, you know what? I need something to give me a breather before FIFA comes out. So I jumped in and put like 5-6 hours into then, and that one's it's pretty janky. And I have, even when I looked at the other ones, I didn't see that big of a jump from what I saw of 2 or Kiwami.
Yeah, they have
all pretty similar.
They've been floating around 30 forever. I'm not super surprised. Like, pushing 4K with a locked 30, I can live with that. I realize that maybe makes me a peon to some people. Like, I'd like 60 though. Like, it's hard to come down from what I'm at on PC. So on the Series S, it's pushing 1440 at 30 and 900 at 60. 900p at 60. I understand why people might be frustrated. At least give us 1080. Like,
if you can.
If you can, and sacrificing the frames to drop below 60, I think you'll notice that more than that slight tip in resolution on most people's sets right now.
I put this in because I think it was important, because people are looking at this placing judgment on the box based on the game and not placing judgment on the game. So for what it's worth, Kiwami 2 on PS4 Pro is at 1080p 30.
Yeah, it's not running anywhere over 1080p, and
yeah,
there are some video cards that struggle with that thing to push it to 4K.
Yeah,
on a PC.
So like, this isn't like the best example. And you know what? If you want to be critical, a little weird that maybe Xbox like led with these. Where's the Valhalla marketing agreement you did? Like, where? Like, why not Watch Dogs or something? Do
you really want to let the early Ubisoft code go, though? We've talked about this. We've talked about day one code for Ubi and how Coach is like waiting a month. I don't know that I would let Ubi code out. I don't know that I would have done that either. Look, the Coach's point is important. you see it in a year. Let the games get made exclusively for this hardware, and that's where you see it. For now, you're living with a bump off what you had, and the quality of life improvements, like that's what you're going to get. That's what you're paying for.
Yep.
That's worth $500 to me. Like,
I also think it's important to point out, and I don't think a lot of people are. I don't think the majority of the people, I don't want to speak for the people that are buying as a secondary console, because I definitely think they are out there. The majority of the people that are going to be interested in the Series S probably don't care.
No, they don't. This is a way to get a new system in their paws at a price that they can afford, and they're probably sitting on a 1080p set. In fact, I'm almost certain of it.
I don't want to dismiss, just knowing the knowledge, but like after we kind of get an idea of where the S is and what it can do, I really don't want to hear about the specs of the S, because it's not the specs console.
It's not.
If you are worried or wanting to know, if you're like, well, I was going to get the S, but I would like to know what the resolution is, then you need an X.
Yeah,
if that thought pops into your head, then you need an X, right? It's the same people who are like, the hard drive's too small. If you're the type of person it's like there's not enough space, it's the wrong console for you. You're buying the wrong console.
Yep.
It's the perfect I have a vacation house companion console, or I want one in the house for the second TV, or I want to give this one to my kid because they're just going to freaking play Fortnite on it anyway. So you know what I mean?
Hurt my feelings. I just want to make sure I told you guys that, because we have 3 Xbox One X's in this house right now.
So do I. I have 3. I have one with each kid, and those are the OGs, big beefy boys.
I don't own a vacation house though.
All right, fair enough. Look,
this is my vacation room.
This is my vacation room too. There's a little sign that tells the kids not to come down here today.
Respect it.
We also own 3. The nice one is in the basement with me, and the old ones are with the kids. But yeah, all right, fair enough. I mean, like, there are people who actually like go places. I'm not one of them. I don't have a vacation house. But like I said, it's the size of a very large Bible. Stick it.
It's super tiny.
That's the box that you're going, like, when you rent an Airbnb. Cheap. Yeah, it's cheap. That's the box when you rent an Airbnb. You don't take the Roku. You take the S. Right in the suitcase.
Respect.
So I think, I don't know. Look, there's going to be final code. These games will look better when they finally come out. And then in a year, then it's going to be like, then you're going to see, like that next Madden game, those next sports games, that's where you're going to see it. Really see it.
I think 2K is already showing. I think 2K looks incredible.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, basketball. All right. Let's move on. Boy, we have more business news. So Microsoft entered into a partnership with GameStop.
Yep.
Microsoft basically took the shovel away from GameStop and filled the grave half in. They're like, you don't need to go all the way. Look, they talked them off the ledge.
We didn't talk about this last week, right?
No, we didn't. I don't believe we talked about this last week because it was very nebulous.
And I don't think last week, I don't think the news was actually news. I know a lot of people were covering it, but I didn't think it was very newsworthy.
Right. Because
it was Microsoft entered an agreement with GameStop, and maybe it had some Xbox ramifications, but it was really just GameStop is going to use Microsoft Dynamics and Surface tablets and stuff to do their store business, which, as a former GameStop customer, sounds amazing.
It's genius.
Yeah, it's very smart.
And as a former employee of GameStop, I can also tell you that their system sucks. Have you ever been to a GameStop and the system goes down?
Worst.
Yeah, I have. The manager gets real stressed.
It might as well just be like a babysitter place. They're like, we can't help you.
Close the doors. Give it up.
The whole store is shut down. It's like, why is your whole store tied to this one terminal?
It's actually depressing. But this sounds like it's more than just that. Like, yes, they're going to help power the retail experience, but now GameStop apparently came out and confirmed this and said that there's a revenue sharing situation that they've established with Microsoft on all the downstream revenue for any device user, whatever that GameStop brings in. That includes digital stuff.
Yeah.
So that's where it's big.
Because
that's what Microsoft.
Every All Access, every Game Pass, every console, they're getting a piece of that.
Just slide the All Access 1-year cards across the table. This is genius, actually, because GameStop needed saving.
This is the 3rd time they've tried this, by the way.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
The 2nd time was with Cricket. You guys remember when GameStop was trying to push Cricket Mobile because they were trying to.
Every time I went there,
trying to get that market share.
Do you need a phone? No, I don't.
No, stop selling me your phones.
Every time you paid your bill, they got a piece of that.
Yeah.
So
this is very smart though, because GameStop needed help, right? They needed to be bailed out. GameStop's current business model does not work well with the digital situation that Microsoft is pushing as it stands right now. Right, sure. But Microsoft is leaning really hard on the service situation, right? They want to sell you those digital codes. So by making this agreement where they're like, look, we know you don't like this digital stuff, but hear me out. sell it, and we'll give you part of the deal. It's genius. They're going to get more Game Pass in more people's hands.
It's good for GameStop in that it gives them some recurring revenue because their used games market is tanked. Like
they're selling T-shirts and Funkos now.
Tanked. Exactly.
Yeah.
But for those of you that are concerned that Xbox is just going to start pushing, that GameStop is going to start pushing Xboxes to all customers, we do see a situation. They now have an incentive, so that's going to happen. But the article that I shared from Seeking Alpha today that had a lot of industry analysis and stock watchers and stuff, they very much blatantly said, look for PlayStation and Nintendo to also join in on this too as well. So this just seems to be maybe the way of the future. GameStop is leveraging its footprint and its access. And one of the big things that I don't think people talk about that was highlighted in that article that is really, really smart, cash sales.
Mm-hmm.
These console platform providers, they don't have a way of dealing with customers with cash. And
so
even
teenagers. Donnie, hear me out. Teenagers, I've watched this a couple times because I like my local GameStops. I like the manager. So I go in there and buy things occasionally because support the store. Those kids walk in with a $20 bill and buy V-Bucks.
Sure.
Constantly.
Sure.
And you're right. They're missing all that. My mom's credit card is not available to me.
Yeah, we can have 50% of game sales be digital as they currently are. You could have 70% as game sales be digital, but that doesn't mean that 30% is insignificant. That
Correct.
30% is potentially billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And they don't have a way of taking cash.
Correct.
So partnering with GameStop and giving them incentive to become the place to go to, and maybe they start doing promotions and stuff to win people maybe back from Best Buy and back from Target and stuff, things like that, that will make the platform providers more money in the future. And it makes sense. So I think, if anything, you might start seeing a lot more exclusive deals on games, sales, maybe rewards programs and stuff, exclusive to GameStop to get folks away from other stores back to GameStop.
And I think the thing that people are missing out on this is with GameStop now having an all new setup for their technology where you have something that says Microsoft all over it, or maybe the surfaces have a really nice cover that says Xbox on the back of it. Now you get to see that market share every time you check out, whereas before it was whatever you saw at the register. Now the register literally says Microsoft on top of it.
Compounded upon that, they closed all their Microsoft stores. Their actual hardware locations for you to go put their hands on their stuff. You could get rid of the T-shirt racks if you can convince GameStop that they can make enough money off this. Put a Surface demo unit in. Put a guy in that store to show me how that stuff works. Let me RMA my broken controller right through GameStop. Leverage the footprint.
I think that with All Access is potentially more valuable. So with All Access, there's free upgrades. So you get these people on these 2-year plans, and if there's a new console that comes out, they can upgrade their existing console with a new console. It's hard to do that by mail. Yeah. And it would make sense if they have a very integrated customer solution where it's look, buy Xbox All Access. If something breaks, bring it back to GameStop. We'll get you a new one the same day. They just swap you out with a new console, and they take your old one, they send it back for repair. I mean, that's convenient.
This is what Amazon is doing with Kohl's.
Yeah.
And it's genius. Yep. Allowing me to return something that I buy online through Amazon to a Kohl's location is the same idea. Sell it to me on Microsoft.com. Leverage the infrastructure to send it back. It could be brilliant if it's not just the downstream revenue share. So I hope Microsoft leverages the fact that they have lots of hardware to sell through this route.
And the Dynamics thing, I know it's a little, people don't like hearing it because it's very big brother, but I can only tell you that from a former customer, it should improve the process and the experience 1,000 times more. Instead of, so with the Microsoft Dynamics stuff, I've gotten used to it over the last 6 months because they've taken over our COVID testing centers. They've taken over the application that I actually designed. So I built an application for us to use until we could get the Microsoft Dynamics implemented. So I actually worked with them during the transition. I got to see it. It's so smart in the sense that it'll take your customer history, your purchasing trends, it'll itemize and divide all that. So when you go to checkout, which again may not be in line, you may not be standing at the front console. It could just be a person with a tablet. Hey, are you ready to check out? I can do this right here, right now. Instead of them being hey, do you want to pre-order Call of Duty? And you're I don't even like Call of Duty. What, Now they'll be I see that Coach Mo loves sports games. Hey, have you got your pre-order for FIFA yet? All of a sudden it seems more personalized because they are catering their upsales pitches to you. So maybe it doesn't seem so bothersome anymore. It's hey, I see that you're on Xbox. Do you have Game Pass?
Yeah.
Do you know about Game Pass?
That's the one.
Yeah.
Sell
and it's
that.
like, how important would that be if you're like, hey, I'm buying this Xbox game? Like, do you have Game Pass? What's Game Pass?
Yeah, and like both Sony and Nintendo have stuff to gain there too, right? Like, which makes this idea that they'll also make the same deal. Like PS Now, nobody knows that even exists, right? Like Nintendo's got online services that no one knows exist unless you're one of those people.
That's a whole separate topic for maybe our other shows, but I agree. I just don't think Nintendo Switch Online or PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Now have any
You're right.
onus. The Game Pass, like they're so far.
You're right. But you know what? Like,
if I got upsold on PlayStation Now, I would be a little pissed.
if they gave you, you're so mean. You're so mean.
I'm
If they even gained 10% off of that, or 1%, that would be an improvement for them. And also, they can just, like you said, cash for selling codes.
Yeah, but
Dude.
Nintendo Switch Online. Hey, do you know what this is? No, you don't. It's $20.
It's only $20. That's an easy sell.
Yeah,
That's an
it's a
easy
super
sell. Look at
easy
all these
sell.
classic games
And
you can play with this $20.
The mergers actually already helped them with their app too. I know they rolled out the new app 2 days ago, and that new GameStop app for your phone is a lot better.
That was trash before. Let's just discuss. I would love to be able to use my GameStop reward points to buy Game Pass months. Make it happen.
You used to be able to, and they took it down.
They took some of that
That's
stuff
gonna
down.
come back.
Make it happen. Let me add a month. Let me add $5. Do right into my account. Let me link it.
I'm
Do
hopefully
this.
optimistic for GameStop's future now.
Yeah, me too.
They still need to downsize a little bit more and get a little more efficiently, but they're making the moves to do so. Did you see it? Did you any of you read that stock option article I shared?
Mm-mm.
Apparently, they're selling their Euro division.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Did
to
you know
whom?
that? I don't know. They didn't say it, but apparently they've been marketing them for a while, and they're expecting like GameStop to vacate Europe and pass it off to somebody else.
That makes sense. There's a lot of competitors in Europe still. In America, there aren't like there's still Game and one or two other stores, right? Am I wrong? I'm speaking like from an
there is
American.
Game, but for people
Game
like
exists.
dancing on GameStop's grave, one they're flush with cash. They've had reserves for years. They actually are. They're very good on that regard. So they have the time with that cash reserve to make the moves to be more competitive. So if you hated the idea of them going away, this is very hopeful. It seems like they're beginning to turn the ship.
I will forever be on the team of competition when it comes to that market because it means there's more places for me to buy games, which means they have to have more sales. I win in this scenario.
I still buy mostly digital, mostly online, but I have no allegiance to anybody. So if GameStop had a better rewards program and something, I would easily switch allegiances.
Best Buy messed up when they got rid of Gamers Club.
They did, very much so.
They messed up. Do it, GameStop. Do that.
I still, to this day, though, feel like a void knowing that like I no longer go to my GameStop store. I used to have so many good memories and get to know the people.
Yes,
it was a shopping experience that I actually valued until like it just wasn't worth having anymore. So if they can make it worth having again, I would happily go back.
I still go in, I browse through the old games, I talk to the managers. I occasionally get a collector's edition here or there if there's something that's exclusive. But like, if you give me a program where on top of your pro membership, you give me 10% off all new games, like let's talk. I'll be in the store more. Yeah. It doesn't even take much because no one else is doing anything.
Or a better credit card?
Sure, or a better rate on that.
Theirs
is bad.
Kind of gross.
Amazon's is good. Theirs is bad.
Yep.
So, look.
Free shipping. Free reliable shipping.
Okay, that's a different conversation. They do free shipping, but you're right.
If you spend a certain amount, but like if we were all rewards members and they actually gave free shipping and it was reliable shipping, like there's a lot of things we could do. I'm
hopeful for their situation to improve because it's just more competition. Yep. And that's all I want. Give me more places to buy video games. That mean I save money on video games. I buy a lot of video games. Yep. Speaking of buying video games, I'm so glad that these compilations saved me from myself. I'm going to save that in advance. So Bethesda is dropping 2 collections of video games of yore at this point. The Wolfenstein Alt History one, $80, which is a little bit much, man.
4 games.
New Order, Old Blood, New Colossus, and Young Blood. So 3 good games and 1.
Kevin said Young Blood got fixed. I never went back, but he said it's better.
Is it? I might need to play it again. I played it very close to launch.
They took out all that ammo swapping stuff, the typing stuff. That's what he told me. Because we played it together online, and we dumped 30 minutes of magazines into this boss, and we could not. I was like, what is happening? I hate this game.
It was bad. It pissed me off. $80 I think is a little rich for this. I think this should have still been 60.
Okay.
But that's just me. Like one or two of these games are old enough now that
the Old Blood is great.
Look, they're all
That's
good
another
games.
one I might replay if they enhance it.
Old Blood was a great game.
Yeah.
Old Blood is a very good game. The other one is the Arcane Collection, $60. Prey, Dishonored 2, and Death of the Outsider. These are some of my favorite games of the last generation.
You could have taken Prey out of that one. I still would have bought it.
I agree that a Dishonored collection by itself is exceptional.
Dishonored is phenomenal. I don't know how people did not play those games more.
I just started.
Like that was one of those. The second one was great, but the last one,
Death of the Outsider, is exceptional. It's a sleeper, and this will include all of the DLC for Dishonored as well, which some of the Knights of Dunwall and some of that stuff, Knives of Dunwall, was very good. I also really liked Prey. Like Arcane's video games are my jam.
Yeah.
My issue with Prey was I didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
Like it confused me way too much.
The ending was bad. Let's just be very clear. But hey, so I guess there were ESRB listings that didn't say anything about them coming to PS5, but I believe that they've confirmed they are also.
We have ESRB ratings for Xbox consoles, future Xbox. So these collections are out now. PlayStation 4, Xbox
Correct.
One, they're out now.
I thought they released on November 6th.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, they're listings.
You can pre-order
them now.
Yes.
You can get them now. There is a next-gen rating of these games that doesn't detail what improvements they have yet, but that rating did not include PlayStation 5. This is an old story. It came out last week. I did not cover it last week because everybody was like, see, Bethesda games are exclusive. I'm still not convinced that they are, for a couple reasons. Why would you release it on PlayStation 4 and not PlayStation 5? First and foremost, it's like they already have access to the games. Bethesda responded for comment, and they told them, yeah, you can play on PlayStation 5 via backwards compatibility. So it does look like maybe they are exclusive. I was hesitant to believe that because, to be honest with you, I didn't think we'd start seeing any of these deals or agreements come out until the deal was final.
And to be clear, this isn't confirmed yet that they're going to bother making any improvements.
That's
they
true.
might
it could just be a port.
It could just be we're putting it on the box, so we have to rate it.
Yeah, I don't think
that it could totally be. It could be a technicality. We put Series X on the box, we have to rate it.
Totally fair, totally right. If it was that, though, I think it would be for pre-order now.
Just released now?
No, I think they would have announced it with the announcement of the other games. The
That's
fact
fair.
that they're holding on to it makes me think that there's some development going.
Maybe. Does the art for the box say both consoles on it?
Not the box that you can pre-order, but the new listing would be a new SKU.
I see. I'm curious to see what they do. I'm real curious to see what they do here.
But yeah, the deal will not be finalized until Q3, at least March or April, I think at the earliest, but it could be longer. So I didn't think we'd start seeing any firm announcements of exclusives or anything until that deal was finalized, unless they're really, really confident that all of the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted, and they're just operating now as they're already part of it. And I guess you could say they are. We already are starting to see the Game Pass stuff, but we haven't seen all the games show up to Game Pass, and there's no announcement for that. So it's still quasi. The people that are running with it, saying it's exclusive, I think that's a road too far, but
I agree.
This very well could be the first shot. This could be the first example that we see.
We'll see. I will see what they decide to do. Yep. I'm curious what they're going to do. I'm curious if this doesn't come to PS5 and they're just still working out the details.
I chose to address it when they responded for comment the way they did. Now
I agree.
That actually made me go, oh, maybe they are exclusive.
Maybe. I legit am glad that they didn't put these in really sick steelbooks that were exclusive to this version, because I probably would have bought both of these again, because of how I feel about these sets of games.
I would have gotten a Dishonored steelbook in a second.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I make bad life choices. I know this about myself. If you put both of those collections in a sick steelbook or bundled one, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna do it.
I totally want them to, and this is just me being hopefully optimistic. I totally want a video or a Wire article or something and be like, hey, here is the next-gen versions of the Alt History Collection, and here are all the cool stuff we did to the Wolfenstein. I'm going to replay all of it.
I will replay all those games. I love every game listed here with the exception of Youngblood. I love Youngblood. I just thought it was mediocre. I'm not even going to shit on it. I just thought it was mediocre. You know what I mean? It's not... But if you put them in steelbooks, I'm going to buy them again. I know who I am. I'm an idiot. But I'm a lovable idiot. So that's the thing. One more, let's talk about Game Pass one more time. I need a T-shirt that says "Let's talk about Game Pass, baby." There's a bunch of stuff coming to Game Pass soon. There's also some stuff leaving, but I'm excited about this list because there's some great games on here. We've got Age of Empires 3, Definitive Edition, PC. Heave Ho, which is a delight, especially if you have kids.
Really?
Katana Zero, which is super freaking good, dude.
Katana Zero was on my Game of the Year list last year. Katana Zero is must play for anybody that's never played it.
I agree. I love that game. Tales of Vesperia is a game that I keep meaning to freaking get to, both last generation and this one. And it's everybody's favorite of the Tales series if you ask them, and they've played them all. Swords of Ditto, I've heard great things about. Scourgebringer, is that?
I have no idea what that is.
I want to say that it's a roguelike type of game, and I want to say that it wasn't in 1.0.
That's probably why I don't have any idea what that game is.
Yeah. And aren't you excited then, Donnie, to play some cricket?
Cricket 19, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. I don't know how to play cricket.
Hey, please don't sleep on the cricket games. They're actually very well.
Are they
totally
good?
Gonna sleep on the
No, they are very well made.
I kind of wish this came out like January 2021. We get Cricket 19.
The last two that I bought were actually phenomenal. Like they were really played well. But I really love those. The rugby games and the Aussie football games are all things that I'm a pretty big fan of.
Will this teach me how to play cricket and how the rules of the game work?
Yes, it will. They have a really good tutorial. The only game I've ever seen that didn't have a good tutorial, that is a European game sport-wise, was handball. Handball did not do well teaching people why the game is so amazing. But no, the cricket ones are great. They do such a good job, and they have a really good following.
Then I'm going to play the cricket game because I would love to understand how cricket works. Because I'm ignorant about cricket, and it looks cool, so I'm here for it. The last one is Superland, by the way, which is also a fun game, can confirm. So, like, there's a bunch of stuff leaving as well. I can't remember if there was anything super notable on that list, but...
There were a few. I don't remember them offhand.
But, like, look, Age of Empires 3 has me pretty hyped. I bought a PC... My very first one, I think, when that game was about to come out. I really love Age of Empires 3.
If they'd bring it to console, I'd play it more.
You don't want to play an RTS on a console.
I've played RTSs on consoles before that were okay.
You've played RTSs that were built for consoles, like Halo Wars. Yeah, those are fine.
Saints Row is leaving. Saints Row 4 is leaving PC. Metro 2033 Redo is leaving.
That's okay.
And let's see, your After Party's leaving, and so is Lego Star Wars 3.
After Party is made by the Oxenfree folks. Yep. If you liked Oxenfree, I recommend After Party. I didn't like it more than Oxenfree, but I liked it.
Tacoma, Coach, is
Tacoma is excellent. Let's go.
I remember when I bought that one the first day and beat it in less than like an hour. It was like, huh.
Whoops.
Well, this sucks.
Those games are there to tell you a story, man. They won't overstay their welcome, though. I will say
we had talked about it. I was like, I'm so jacked for this, and I remember coming home, putting it in, and going, "Oh, that's the end.
Yeah, that
that's
one
the
didn't
whole
do
story."
Much for me.
Yeah, that was it was shorter. I liked it, but it was a shorter game. So
cool.
I think that's all of the news.
Questions.
We have questions. How much time we got? We don't have a ton of time.
That doesn't matter. We don't have a limit. Our limit is we'll go as long as you want to go. You are the host.
I am the host. You've given me so much power.
That's how I lure everybody in.
Well, then
you see talent. You see a free agent out there on the waiver wire like Elaine, and you go get her. Okay?
Yeah, you do. And then you make her coffee mugs so she stays.
Yeah, you send her shirts and everything. You're not going anywhere.
I do have shirts. I'm very excited. My kids.
You send that hoodie back.
My kid's super jealous about that hoodie. My daughter tried to steal that. I'm like, you're 8.
Hoodie's
Give me
hot,
that back.
isn't it?
It's a hot hoodie.
Logo,
I'm pumped.
like
I'm
our
wear it next week.
logo is so good for clothes.
It's a tight logo. I'm gonna wear that next week. Watch me.
Yeah.
The polo shirts make me look like I stole my dad's wardrobe, but I like them, so I will also wear those. But I'm one of those people. But that hoodie is hot. They are comfy. You got the athletic fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we got questions. Delvin has a question for the gentle giant. I assume that doesn't mean me, because if he's calling me giant, he and I are going to fight. So this one's for Coach. Never call women giant. How do you feel about the portrayal of the Hulk?
The hunk.
Same thing. Man, I'm tired. How do you feel about the portrayal of the Hulk in the Avengers game? Also, would you like to see a spin-off Hulk solo game?
I already have the perfect spin-off Hulk solo game. It was on the 360. I was able to destroy buildings and basically make it look the way it needed to look after a great Hulk fight. So I don't need another one because I don't think anyone's ever going to pay the attention to detail that game did when it came to actually getting to play as the Hulk. I think this was a mediocre game across the board with a mediocre telling of the Hulk.
I heard on a podcast that it's not going well for the Marvel Avengers. Like
No,
the PC base was lower than the game that it replaced. I can't remember the Crystal. Who's doing the Crystal Dynamics?
Crystal Dynamics.
It's Deus Ex. The last Deus Ex has more concurrent players on Steam than Marvel's Avengers does. I was like, that can't be good.
Yeah, it's but the issues are, again, like, they did not make a way to make it your superhero. Like, it's not good. The reason that we got hooked on Destiny was because we could go in and create a character and they were going to be as powerful and as good as we grinded them to be. This whole character from level 1 to level 50 is the exact same. I'm still in the same fights. I'm doing the same thing. There's no benefit to me grinding this game out. It's an okay story. It's very, very predictable. There's nothing that's going to catch you off guard. MODOK was a fine decision for your bad guy because he's, universally hated because even the villains hate him. But they missed the mark because it's still, it's like somebody handing you a piece of white bread with nothing on it. Sure, white bread's fine. It's still tasty. Maybe it's soft. But it needs that substance. It needs that peanut butter with a little paprika on top, or it needs honey and butter. It needs something, right? And that's the issue with this game, is it is bland. And there's nothing that's going to be able to save it, because the only way to reinvest it is to fix the story, and you're not going to have the ability to do that.
They didn't even allow the cosmetic stuff or the armor stuff to show on your characters, right?
Nope.
See, that's a real bummer for me.
What's
Like
the
that
point
that
then?
bummed me out. And I will play this game eventually, but man, if you're gonna give me 6 shorts for the Hulk, then let me see them, dude.
Yeah, the only reason I purchased it was for this. Hold on.
What's the point of not giving you the customization though? Like, what's the point of keep doing it?
So
Yeah, like you got yes.
Because
So
that's
you
the
do
Destiny thing, right? Everybody goes for
Right
like
there.
the purple gun and all that.
Yeah, I want fashion souls is what we've called it for many years. Like, I'm going to dress up in the dumb armor because it looks cool. It's not always the best, but it looks good. And they even took that experience away from us, right? Like,
And Sean Capri mentioned in the chat that a bland explosion is still an explosion. It is, but there's a difference between your first kiss being one that knocks your socks off and makes you shaky in the knees like it was when I kissed my wife, or like a kiss from Sean, which is, I'm sure, quite nice, but I promise you my knees won't shake.
Gonna get in that friend zone.
Yeah, there's a huge difference in the type of explosion we're mentioning, right? And that's the problem. That this game it missed. And it reminds me of Anthem. Anthem has better flying and a better story and better customization than Marvel.
That's hot
Across the
fire to
board.
spit.
I
Across
actually
the
agree with him.
board.
I didn't play a whole lot of Marvels, but I played the demo. The flying in that was like, I took to the flying in Anthem instantly, and it was a
flying
blast.
in Anthem was
Yeah,
Agreed.
the flying in Anthem was great. They nailed it, but Marvel
As
did not.
somebody who's almost earned the 1,000 in Anthem, I'm missing one because you have to grind out finding these things in the daily world. I'm not going to do
Bring
that.
that flying tech to like a new Titanfall game, and
Just give me an Iron Man game with the flying tech. Like, come
you
on.
have to do it with EA though.
So,
No.
but yeah, so it's one of those things that I just think, I think they messed up in this one, Dev. All right, did Dev ask this or Delvin?
Delvin asked this one.
Delvin, I think they messed up on it just because this was not a passion project. They tried to make it sound like it was, but it was not. It was a money project. And that's something that's going to, when you're talking Marvel and you're talking the characters we love, the people that are invested in that world who will spend hundreds of hours on that game, it's because we fell in love with the character.
Yeah, it bummed me out to hear some of this. I haven't played it yet. I own a copy. I just haven't stuck it in yet. But like, I love Miss Marvel, like as a character, a lot. And I've read a lot of those books, and I was excited about it for that. So hearing all of the kind of like blandness bums me out double because of how much I like that character. So it's like, I don't know. I wish this would have been more exciting. I really do. I wanted it to be. All right, we'll move on. We got one from Nathan. Since Coach Hulk is on the show, since Coach is here, how about you roundtable revamp the Xbox achievement system? What would you like to see added, changed, or removed? Boy, I don't know what to do with this because I don't know that I'm going to say blasphemy. I don't know that I care that much. I will chase an achievement if I'm in love with a game.
I could care
I will
less. So,
chase
Coach,
it.
this question's on you. I don't care.
Yeah.
So I've currently earned 11,000 new achievements this month.
Nice. Going for the
Where
Hall
do
of
you
Fame
find
thing.
the time?
I'm teaching from home, so I have
Okay,
nothing but free time sitting in here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay somebody to just do it for me.
I
And-
got a 10-year-old. That's why I had kids.
Yeah.
So, I think that the thing that I would like to see for the achievement system is I'd like them to keep it the exact same way it is now, because they really have revamped and
I
fixed
didn't
a lot.
realize there was anything wrong with it.
But what I would like them to do is for this new generation, I would like them to introduce two things. One, whenever you earn an achievement, you can go to the Microsoft Rewards on your system
Yep.
and get 50 free rewards
Oh.
points for every time you earn one every day.
Yep.
That's cool.
So every day I earn one, I go click on that before I'm finished and log off for the night. So it's 50 points. You do the math. That means if I do that and unlock one 5 times a week, that's what 5 times 4 is 20 times a month. You're looking at what's 20 times 50, guys.
2,000.
So you might
200.
So 2,000. So that's $2. That's $2 in currency.
20 times
That's
50? 20 times 500? I don't know.
20
Math's
times
hard.
50. Yeah, it's not my thing. But if it is 2,000, then
Yeah.
that's $2 in Microsoft Rewards I earn just for playing games.
Yeah.
I think it would be
Right.
cool if you got achievements based on playing Game Pass.
So you
They
do.
do that. They
No,
have
you get
daily.
rewards.
Well, you get
Yes.
rewards.
I think
yeah.
it'd be cool if there was like a Game Pass achievements list where you got achievements for playing games on Game Pass.
So, but that would be the first thing is make that more well known, make that easier to see. Like,
Yeah.
what is this currency that I'm earning? Oh, you got this many achievements this month. You have gotten this much currency, like they used to do. They
Yeah.
used to do that all the time, but they got rid of it because they were trying to make it the rewards points and their online system. The second thing I like to see is for the people who actually care about achievements, give us a way to spend more time with them. Right? Allow me to go online and go through and look at every game I've 1,000. Allow me to look at that collection. Before I really got into achievement hunting, like chasing after them, Nate, who asked the question, was like 100,000 points ahead of me. And then I saw he was ahead of me. And I said, this is the first person I've ever met who had more achievements than I did. So I caught him. And then I passed him. And now I'm up over 250,000.
Two.
And
boy.
that's the thing is that it's fun for me to do that, but I would like to have a way to go look at all the games of 1,000
Sure.
and go, man, yeah, I've 1,050 games this year.
Don't they have like other sites like True Achievements and stuff that do that?
They do, but I don't like using auxiliary sites. That's just not me. I use Xbox.
I don't like to link my accounts to anything if I can avoid it. Like I'm weird about that, but like I agree with you. Some filtering options would be cool. Like give me like xbox.achievements.com and then let me filter. I want to see all my rare achievements. I like the new sound that they added when the rare ones
I do
pop
too.
up.
Yeah, I
Let
like
me
the
see
little,
that.
little diamond icon, but I turned all
It's-
that stuff off.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
I left the rares on because the diamond spins and it makes me feel good. Like
And
you know
then,
that one feels special. So
Lobo just pointed something out that I wish they did. I wish they gave us more achievements based on the hours you played.
sure.
There used to be those ones, I can't remember what they were worth, like 0 points, but I think it was on Halo, the Mastery Collection. It was for logging so much time doing something. I would love more of those to come back.
I like the
Yeah.
achievements that they've done that were like, and I think this is blasphemy to what achievements are supposed to be, but like when you got a day one achievement, that was cool. Like
Yep.
when you got an achievement for watching Netflix, that was cool. Like I would like them to do that more often. It didn't not to the point where it waters down what achievements mean. But that's what I was meaning like with Game Pass. Like reward people that are like incorporating and adopting your platform, but just aren't into achievements, you know, like, or maybe they're not into it yet. Maybe you give them a few and maybe they start getting into it. Like just, you know, reward system usage versus just
Sure.
like I grinded this game for 400 hours.
Like, you know, the other ones that I kind of miss, they were the viral ones. Play with the dev or play with someone who's played with the dev or they would pass on.
Cool little
I-
social things like that. Like they get
I loved
trendy and
those.
stuff. Yes.
Yeah, and
That's exactly
It
what
was
I'm
so
talking about.
cool when they popped because you're like, oh man, I wonder who in this game is 6 steps to Kevin Bacon away, essentially, that let me pop this. I think those are neat. You don't even need to make them points because I know some people get crazy
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
They can be rare and
Yep.
0 points.
Yep.
But that's really cool and it's a social experiment.
There's a lot
you
of
know,
like
and it's fun.
cross promotion and marketing you could do with something like that. You
Sure.
could like have a movie of the month or something where you got like a little achievement pop or something if you watch this movie, if you rent it, or if you stream something, or if you logged something on Halloween, or you know, like there's a social community that you can get doing things if you kind of center around that. And I think Game Pass is a great engine for that.
I agree. And I think stuff that's themed after months, stuff
What if you
that's
put
like,
Dead Space up and you were like, everybody that plays Dead Space in Halloween gets a special achievement?
or yes, or like, oh, you're playing the same game as your friend at the same time.
Yep.
You're not playing together, but you've got 3 friends who are playing this game at once. Like those kind of pack achievements.
Host a game with a party of 3 or more people. Here's an achievement.
Yeah, or just do voice chat, in this game and whatever. That sort of stuff is fun. It's not just kill X of whatever rat.
Beat the game 5 times.
Look,
I'm never going to do any of those achievements.
I have all the Resident Evil ones. Okay.
Every time I see one of them, I'm like, no.
No, I don't want to. I really get frustrated with the ones that are beat the game on the highest difficulty. I understand why they exist.
Well, that's the cred. That's what everybody wants.
I understand why they
the
frustrate
flex.
me. They frustrate me when that's the one flex that I cannot get on a game I love, just because for some reason that highest difficulty was just too broken or too much. You know what I mean? The Witcher did that, and I was like, I'm not going to play this video game on that difficulty. I don't hate myself.
Brutality.
It's awful. It's so it's more social stuff that's kind of not specifically play a multiplayer game together. It would be cool. So let's do one more, and let's do the Halloween one because it is October. So, and Delvin also asked this question, but I'm stealing it now because it's Halloween and why not? Or Halloween season. What horror franchise would you like to get a next-gen video game adaptation? If you put Chucky in a video game, I quit video games.
I mean, Chucky's the one that should have always gotten a game adaptation and never did. Chucky's and that wasn't going to be my answer. I was really going to think about it for a minute, but Chucky is a good one because it's a toy. It's a child's toy, and there's a lot of video game things that you could do with that. I would love a Coma styled, clock tower styled, run and hide, fight Chucky in a school or something. That fits, that works.
But you could drop that right into Dead by Daylight. Right?
You could, but it's not the same. But
it's not the same. But they've done a pretty good job.
I really like that game. That's a good game.
Yeah.
If I did multiplayer stuff, I would love. That'd be my favorite game. When I played it, it was this is the game that I could see me playing forever. But I just don't play.
I do love those ones.
Yeah,
they're
those
a good
are
time.
good. I want single player stuff.
I thought the Saw game that came out quite a long time ago, while not a great game, was a good idea. That it was, I want to say, a 360 PS3 game. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. And it wasn't great, and there was more than one of them. But that's not a bad idea. To put a Saw game together where you essentially have to solve a puzzle to not die is clever. And I was into it.
The ones that I think would make for great video games, I feel cliche or dumb for saying them because I think we already have them. But
sure,
a Dawn of the Dead game that was World War Z or Dead Rising would be super fun if it was tied to the movie and done well.
I agree that a zombie game that wasn't goofy, because Dead Rising is silly, right? State of Decay gets kind of close, but I don't love some of the stuff that I like State of Decay, but I would want something a little bit more streamlined that was telling more of a story. So Walking Dead, but without just being a text adventure, essentially. Yeah, for me.
So I have 2.
Oh, hit me.
All right, so my first one is I would like them to make a Sims game. However, one of you is a killer, and it's based on Scream. So you go through your daily day, doing your job, hanging out at your house, meeting up with your friends for dinner.
Like Among Us.
But one of you is a murderer. You just don't know which one.
Sure.
And I want the game to play until you either caught the murderer or until everyone's dead.
I like that.
So you can save it and play it over a couple of different playthroughs.
Sure.
My second one is I would like a NFL zombie crossover where Jay Cutler is in it's 2009.
Jesus.
And he leads the Bears to a playoff win against the Seattle. It did too. He beat the Seattle Seahawks in Chicago. He leads the Bears to a playoff win after the game.
Defense?
Oh, he did it. He threw 3 touchdowns that game, by the way. So he leads the Bears to a Chicago playoff win in 2009 in the snow in Chicago. And as he's sitting in his locker, a bomb explodes and zombies are made from the dead. And he has to traverse the city of Chicago, killing zombies to get to his wife, Kirsten, who they're now separated from, and save her and the children who are locked in their house
in Jay
on the
Cutler's
outside.
life. Coach.
You need to stop because Jay Cutler's the man. That's all that matters.
He was
That is a
never the
beautiful,
man. Maybe at
beautiful
Vanderbilt,
human being.
maybe.
I want to point out Jay Cutler is 25th all time in passing yards.
And
So you need to put some respect on his name.
And
Top
what-
25 quarterback all time.
what? Just yards.
Top
What
25.
about wins or anything? Like, does that not matter? You don't.
Let's not talk about that.
play to win
Let's talk
the
about
game?
yards.
Let's just gloss over. Look, we don't need all the statistics.
I think
just
Rex
the one I'm specifically
Grossman took
interested
the
in.
Bears to the Super Bowl.
No, the Bears defense took the Bears to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Rex
that
Grossman
happens.
sucks.
I want a Nightmare
So-
on Elm Street game. Why don't we have a good Nightmare on Elm Street game?
We get kind of close with Silent Hill. Like
Sort of.
with the Demon
I
World
want
and
a
the shifting
Silent
perspective.
Hill, but Nightmare on Elm Street game, like
Okay.
a dreamscape game
I'm here with this.
that, like, maybe you like in the daytime you prep for the nighttime, and then the nighttime is like when you do the hauntings and running away. But in the daytime, you're prepping, you're meeting your friends, you get story bits, but then you fall asleep. Maybe there's even like a survival mode where you're trying not to fall asleep. But if you
That
do
would
fall
be
asleep,
cool.
then you've got to fight Freddy in these weird, fantastical realms.
It would only be cool if it had a mode where we send it to space and we bring in Jason.
That's
Just throwing that out there.
not good.
I just like messing with you.
That's not good. Let's not do that. But
I
a-
like the idea of like an Among Us style like Scream game. I think
That's
it would
real
be
good.
extra cool if we layer on top. You get to build out the house. Like you can set
Yeah,
up
no,
how the whole thing is
that's-
laid out.
That's
That's
why I
real
was
good.
like, if you made it like a sim style game
Yeah.
and say, hey, the killer he could wait hours, full day night cycles before he decided to strike when he saw the best opportunity, and you give the killer some extra tools that everybody else doesn't have and a way to kind of hide who he is and move without being seen.
That'd be cool.
I really think that could be just an amazing game because it adds that layer of I am invested in this world, building my house, my whatever, and then oh no, my characters got destroyed.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that.
And-
I love
And
that.
you don't know who did it. You don't know how they got you or what happened, and you kind of have that element of surprise.
Asynchronous multiplayer like this is like exciting for me. I love that stuff. Resident Evil 3 tried to do it with that resistance kind of mode that they packed
Yeah.
in, and it was okay. It was not great. Like I think Dead by Daylight does that really well, and it's fun. But that
It's
kind
fun.
of a thing where you could set up almost like online chess, where you play for an hour and then it stays in stasis until everybody comes back to it, and you can have these like longer games. That would be
Taking
great.
the Dead by Daylight thing further, what if you could play a licensed tie-in game, Friday 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, where you play as the killer, and your
I would
job
do
is to kill all
I
the
would
kids?
do that. Would be rad.
How is that? That's
I'm
a
here
good
for that.
idea, right? It's like
That
Camp
does-
Crystal Lake, and there's like 40 camp counselors that you've got to get through before the sun comes up or something. That
You mean I
sounds
can-
amazing.
You mean I can kill obnoxious teens?
Yeah.
Ha
And you just
Dreamed of
catch
this
them
my whole life.
like they're like you'll just walk upon like stories as they happen in little set pieces and stuff, and like you've got to decide how you're gonna do it. But like maybe if you get caught or something, like if you let one of them get away, they get alerted, they get harder to find, they get equipment to
good.
fight you back and stuff. That sounds awesome.
Like listening in on what they're gonna do later to plan out a murder in advance would be cool. That would be cool. I'd be here for that. Like let's Dead by Daylight, but make it single player.
Yeah.
Like actually, they should just make a single player mode.
Because that could be
That's
like
that.
a rogue regenerating type of game.
Yeah.
Right. Where you have like the couple that runs off in the woods. You've got the folks that go off and have like a party. There's the campfire.
Sure.
Somebody's in the boat. Like you got to figure out how to do it without them all finding out. Because if they find out, they raise the alarm. They call the cops. They get weapons. And it makes it harder.
You're describing Hitman.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah.
You're describing
like
Hitman, but with a murderer,
but
and
with
that
Jason
people,
or Michael Myers instead.
and that other people who are not maybe your murder targets don't believe you. So they go up and tell the police, but you've done a good enough job hiding who you are. The police are like, I don't see a murder. That would be cool. Everybody should jump on these ideas. We're giving them away for free on this podcast.
That's good. I like my last answer. That's better than all my other answers.
All these answers are good because I love scary games, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
here for it.
When I was
I
thinking
think
of the Dawn of the Dead thing, I was thinking of like a Left 4 Dead, but like a Dawn of the Dead theme with a tie-in.
Cutler.
Oh my god.
That was a
This
bad
is where
idea.
we end the show. This is where we end the show before the Cutler love gets out of like uncomfortable for me, where I have to be like, I'm
Always
gonna
been
leave you alone,
uncomfortable.
Coach. I'm gonna to let you step out of the room. I think that's gonna do it. I think we wrapped everything up. Coach, thank you. You're a delight.
Thank you. I had a blast.
Glad to have you back, man. Since you're on
Yeah.
this hiatus, what's the chances the PSVG faithful get an OT surprise?
Actually, let's do it this way. So yeah, I'm working on my doctorate, and that's been insane, and I'm exhausted, and I'm also full-time teacher and coach, so that's life, and have a brand new daughter, and that's life. And so the last time we did an OT, I got a lot of messages like, "Hey, when are you going to come back?" And here's the thing, guys, I don't know when I'm going to come back, but I need you to do me a favor, because I love you so much, and you listen for this full hour and some change. When you hear this, please message Dev on Discord, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is you want to, and just call him short. Just, hey, Dev, you're short. And just do that for me so that I have something to laugh at during the next week when this comes out. So just make fun of Dev's height for me. Because, yeah, thank you. That's it.
I'm going to let that special request ride. That's normally I would probably mom you and be like, yo, no, I'm not going to tell you to be nice. You earned that one. You put up with our nonsense for a full hour and 45 minutes. So you know what? Thank you so much. This has been a blast.
I loved it. It was fun.
I had a great time. Donnie, of course, thank you to you too. You're still here putting up with my sass in giant coffee mugs. I need to find a larger mug.
I'm excited. We've got guests. I've been lining up guests. We get a chance to launch the console. You only get that opportunity every so often. So I've got guests. I've got somebody that will have early impressions of some awesome stuff early. So we've got that coming. I've got other folks coming. I got returning guests coming. I'm trying to make it a thing, so stick with
November is on fire, y'all. Stay tuned.
Yes,
I'm gonna say it that way. Just hang out. I mean, I know you love us, but like
Empire.
Also hang out because there are other cool people who are gonna join us. But
sure,
cool. I think that's gonna do it. Thank you everybody for listening, and we will catch you next week.
Bye.
Bye.